everyone, and welcome back to another episode in the surrounding series that I am covering for this month of March. So today I wanted to continue the conversation from yesterday where we talked about others' influence on us and discuss our influence on other people. And I want to talk about a few other areas because others and their influence on us, we really can't control what it is that other people do. However, I wanted to give you a few different areas to consider when we're thinking about our influence on other people. Okay, so the first thing when it comes to surroundings, not only should we consider our surroundings, but what about other people's surroundings and what we're kind of just putting out there for other people. So are we putting out something that is beautiful for other people to see, or is it something that we are putting out the negativity? So that can be in a whole lot of different areas. One of those things is just the way that we speak. And so if we're talking about Instagram, aside from the fact if you have stories and stuff like that, even in the text that you write, or in comments that you comment, or even if you are a quote-unquote influencer, the things that you comment back to other people and the way that you conduct yourself within those comments. Is this something that you're realizing how big of an influence that you have on somebody? Now, we know that a lot of the times things that we write to people can be misinterpreted or, all of those different kind of things. But I think it's safe to say that some words, if we're going to use them, we are asking for people to, make certain conclusions about us. And are we considering the influence that we have on others, not even the person that we are going to be, that this message, say, is intended for, but all of the other people around that would see it. So I know that with having my YouTube channel, this is something that I think about so much. It's something that has kept me up at night sometimes because I want to make sure that whatever it is I'm putting out there into the world is something that is going to be uplifting for people, that it's going to benefit people in some way. And so I want that to be the same with whatever it is that I write. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've always written things that have been, uplifting or there have been times where even on my YouTube channel, somebody wrote something in and it kind of caught me off guard, and maybe I felt defensive about something and maybe I snapped at a person. And yes, this has happened. And even to the point where I felt like, well, maybe I could have said something in a different way, and was more or less regretful of the way that I worded something more so than the message that I was trying to get across, if that makes any sense. And so in those moments, I've, deleted what I've written and whatnot. But anyway, these are things that we really, really need to consider because even when you delete something, they say, it's still out there forever. And that's the kind of world we're in right now, right? Where a lot of us conduct different things online. And so our words are out there, they're in print. And for those of us who make videos, our words are out there. This is one of the reasons why it's a little bit harder for me to make videos with words, because of the fact that I'm very nervous about the words that I put out there. And is it going to be something that I'm going to regret later? Not that I'm being malicious in what I'm saying or that I'm saying something to, hurt somebody or anything like that. It's more about even feeling like, is what I'm saying accurate? All of those different kind of things. It's a different kind of stress for me when it comes to that. I get a little bit nervous about that. But just because I don't feel that I'm the most eloquent when it comes to what it is that's on my mind, me getting it out there to say. Okay, I feel that I'm more equipped to share what it is that I feel through art than it is for me to put it into words, if that makes sense. So that's where I am with that. And that's why even creating this video right here, it's a lot harder for me because of that reason right there. So moving on from that, we were discussing the words that we put out, whether that is even with people in our day-to-day life, but also online, and how it does influence other people, especially other people that may see it and just, they think, maybe they could think that it's okay to talk like that, even in a moment where you are, upset about something. And the other thing I want to say about that is what it is that we give credit to, and I spoke about this yesterday, the glorification, are we consuming things where people give themselves glory for things, or are we consuming things where they give glory to whom glory is due? And that is the same for us and the influence that we have on other people. Are we saying, oh, look at me, this is what I've done this and that with my life, and just having this sense of pride, and we put all of this pride out there. Whenever you read about pride, for example, in the Bible, it's never used in a good way. It's always a negative. So, for instance, you don't see God having pride, yet he says pride and a proud look is something that is basically an abomination to him. So is that the way that we portray ourselves as prideful people? And is it the way that we portray ourselves as, giving us all the glory when we know that all good things come from God above? So those are different kind of things to think about, and what kind of things we put out there. And I say this because of the fact that one of the reasons why I really don't care for Instagram, or just sometimes I guess I kind of roll my eyes at some things that I see, because I don't care for that. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard like humble brags or just bragging in general. It's something that is bothersome to me, and a big reason why there's a lot of things that I choose not to share on my channel, or it's harder for me to share on my channel, because I don't want people getting the impression of bragging in any way. And so, finding that fine line, there really isn't one, I feel, because you either are or you aren't. And some people try to mask a brag in a way where they're, let's just say they try to mask a brag, but there's no masking it. I think that a lot of people can just tell. And you have people that want to support you, and so they will, try to make you feel better for it, but it just isn't the case. So let's just say that's one of the reasons why I don't care for Instagram, is because I just don't like seeing all of that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time when you put yourself out there, it's almost as if you're not going to say it, then who will? Kind of a thing. Or you're trying to bring attention to something, and if you don't bring the attention to it, who will? Well, what about thinking about not bringing attention to certain things? So I think there's a difference when we are bringing attention to something that is going to be helpful for somebody, as opposed to bringing attention to ourselves just for the sake of the attention, if that makes any sense. So we have now covered our influence on other people, the words that we put out there, whether that is through video form, whether it is face-to-face with different people, and also in text form. Now let's move on to how it is that we present ourselves, and the way that other people see us. Okay, so I come from more of a modest standpoint in the way that I present myself. So this is not by any means, that I'm the most modest person to every individual. I know that, there are certain things, like even this much chest showing can be something that another person would never think of doing. They wouldn't even think of showing their collarbone. So definitely modesty is very subjective, I would say, but I think that there are also different areas that you would start to that I think more people relate with in being immodest. Okay, so when we're showing, our private areas, or very close to, or different things of our private areas, whether that be cleavage, or whether that be the back of someone's rear end and it hanging out of shorts, or just different things along those lines. And for me, this isn't a modesty talk, but I just wanted to put this out there about what kind of things are we influencing other people to do based off of the choices that we are making ourselves. And so this is something, especially as a parent, you start thinking about more and more. The older you get, what kind of things do you really want to show? What kind of things do you feel are inappropriate to show? What kind of things do you not like seeing other people show, or it makes you feel a certain way? Therefore, do you implement that in your own life in the kind of things that you share, that you show other people with what it is that you're wearing? And I would have to say that some of the biggest influences I've had in how to dress have been those that weren't even spoken to me. It's more so because of the fact that I saw them a certain way all of the time, and I would know that this person would just never dress a certain way. So that spoke volumes to me, and it made me question things about myself and the choices that I make. And I know what a big influence it was on me. And so I consider that when I make choices myself. And that also, goes into what kind of things I would share online to influence, and what it is that I would feel comfortable sharing. I would have to say that I definitely use my father as a measuring stick. This is, I think, because it's the most pure form of respect to me, that or like, I wouldn't want my father to see me in this light, for instance, like say the way that my husband would see me and the way that I would want my husband to see me. I definitely don't want my father looking at me in that way. So that is why it's a measuring stick for, I would wear something different around my husband than I would around my father. And I can be completely okay, but over here, I wouldn't be. So there are things that I would not wear in public, even if I was going to be with my husband. And that is because I use my father as a measuring stick. And so when I'm thinking about something publicly, I'm thinking of it in relation to my father, as opposed to just thinking that, oh, I'm with my husband, so it's okay, if that makes any sense. And I think that this would answer a lot of people's questions that they have about, whether or not something's okay for them to wear. And, it could be whoever it is that maybe you would be more embarrassed for them to see something or see you in a certain way. That is kind of the person that you would use as the measuring stick. And so this is something where I would say posting anything online, because, and I actually ran into this, and I think either Jorge talked about this or I talked about this one time already, but there was, at one point I had a picture of myself showing a little bit of a midriff, and my dad found it online, and it was because it was associated with his name. And so this is something that really disappointed my father. And so I learned so much in that moment, and that has stuck with me. And so if I can share that with any of you that are questioning what kind of things, what kind of influence do I have on other people? What kind of things are they looking at? And I think a lot of the times we have those answers in front of us. We know how certain things make us feel, and those are the kind of things that really lead us to making the decisions that we make, and to not go against those bad feelings that we may have in doing something, because it kind of goes against our conscience, so to speak. So I hope that that was helpful, because I know that this is something that a lot of people actually struggle with. And so this is something I'm definitely going to talk more with my daughters as they get older. I mean, there are things that we have set in place, different rules about different things, but then even just having them have an understanding of things as they age, this is one of the things that I'm going to be sharing with them as well. And so the reason I say that about my father is because when you put something out there for the world to see, whether it's on your Facebook account, a picture, or on your Instagram account, or on YouTube, or anything like that, people are going to see that, and you don't know who all is going to be viewing it. You can even have this small number of people that would be seeing it, but what about the people that they may share that with, and so on and so forth. So those are all different things to consider. And why is that important? Why is our influence on other people so important? Well, because think about how other people have an influence on you, and what kind of world do you want this world to be? Do you want to add beauty to the world, or do you want to add, a lot of more negativity to the world, and negative feelings and all of these? And I think that what it is that we clothe ourselves in speaks volumes to other people, even though it's not something that should be solely what you're concerned about is, what it is you're going to put on. There is some concern in it, in what kind of influence that you have on other people based off of the choices that you make, and also, how you feel in it. And is it something that, brings you joy? Is it something that you feel is beautiful? Yes, surrounding ourselves with beauty, surrounding others with beauty, and part of the beauty in surrounding other people is really thinking about that influence that you have on other people. Because when you've taken the time to think about something like that, and that you want them to be surrounded with good things as well, then your whole demeanor changes. The things that you put on yourself change. The things that you say change, and it's much more beautiful. So I hope that this was helpful for you in some way, and that you enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I hope that you take care and have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone.